Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's start with the first story. It's called All in Writing. I worked for a micromanager who lived for email chains. He wanted every single task documented, no matter how minor. One day he sent me a snarky message after I forgot to CC the right people on a short update. In the future, make sure your emails are more detailed. I need to see everything in writing. Okay boss, challenge accepted. For the next 2 weeks I documented every single thing. Opened Excel spreadsheet, no edits made. Replied to John's email, said thanks. Spoke to Sarah in hallway about printer paper. Resolved. Finished typing this email. Reread 3 times. Each email was multiple paragraphs long, filled with pointless details. I CC'd him on everything, even Slack screenshots of conversations he wasn't in. By day 3 he asked me to dial it back a bit. By day 5 he told me I didn't need to CC him on every breath I take. By the end of the week he asked if we could just go back to how things were before. Sure thing boss. All in writing of course. The next story is called Add Up. Many years ago I was working as a systems administrator for a now defunct company. They sent me to Canada for training on some then new systems. Nothing too wild, just a bit of professional development, but a side of sightseeing and some good food. As instructed, I saved all my receipts and submitted an expense report when I got back. I'd spent a bit more than expected. Souvenir maple syrup isn't free. But I was honest. I calculated everything using the current exchange rate, converting the Canadian dollars to US dollars, and submitted the total, which came out to a reasonable amount. That's when the drama began. My boss's boss, let's call him Mr. Mathris, looked at the receipts and saw that the numbers didn't match the total I submitted. He didn't realize I'd factored in the exchange rate. Cue the angry email chain. He can't even add. These receipts clearly total more than what he's asking for. My boss, trying to keep the peace, simply shrugged and said, just make the numbers add up the way they want. Okay then. I went back to the report and this time added up the receipts without adjusting for the exchange rate. Instead of asking for 650 US dollars, the correct amount, I requested 1,000 Canadian dollars. No conversions, no corrections. Just the raw Canadian total they were apparently craving. Guess what? They cheerfully paid the full amount. No questions asked. Only my boss and I knew the truth. And honestly, it was way more effort trying to do the right thing. But hey, thanks to Mr. Mathris, my little side adventures in Canada basically paid for themselves. The third story is called Overtime Contract. The company I used to work for decided to streamline their overtime policy. Previously, working past your regular hours earned you overtime. But the new rule? Only hours worked over 40 per week would count. The goal was to stop paying out overtime for the occasional late night, and instead encourage people to knock off early later in the week to even it out. The example they love to give? You work 10 hours on Monday? Great. Only work 6 on Tuesday. For context, where I live, overtime is paid at 1.5 times your normal hourly rate, even if you're salaried. What they forgot though was my team. While 99% of the company worked regular Monday to Friday 9 to 5 jobs, my team ran on a 24/7 rotating shift schedule. Because of how our shifts were structured, we'd often end up working 50 to 55 hours in one calendar week, doing nothing unusual. Just our usual 8-hour shifts. But that was always balanced out by a 25 to 30 hour week on the other side. It evened out to 80 hours a fortnight. No problem. Well, under the new policy, that first week now qualified us for tons of overtime pay, even though nothing about our schedules had changed. And thanks to the union, that policy was written directly into our contracts. Same shifts, same work. $6,000 more per year in overtime pay, per person. They couldn't undo it, couldn't argue it, and definitely couldn't spin it as a cost-saving measure anymore. Maybe next time they'll run a policy change past the people it actually affects. The next story is called Let It Rise. A few years back I was teaching high school science when a water main burst in my classroom. Within minutes it became clear the floor drain was clogged and water was rising fast. So I acted. I sent most of the students to the library and kept a few responsible kids. Students I knew from coaching wrestling and football, who could help without panicking. We began hauling water in trash cans and dumping it out the window, while I called building and grounds. Enter maintenance guy. Bursts in, red-faced and loud. What are you doing? Everyone out. Let the water rise. It will force the blockage clear. I tried to explain what we were doing, that we were buying time. Didn't matter. He insisted we stop helping and let the water do its thing. So we did. We watched. The pressure didn't clear the blockage. Instead, the entire hallway on both sides flooded, plus the floor below. Mold set in. More than 40 classrooms had to be shut down for over a year. The building couldn't accommodate everyone, so we split the student body in half. One group had classes from 5 AM to 11 AM. The other from 11 AM to 5 PM. Spring sports? Cancelled. Next year's fall sports? Also cancelled. Repairs? Over 15 million. The district? Never really recovered. And me? I got raked over the coals by a VP, the principal and my supervisor in the immediate aftermath. No thanks, no acknowledgement of trying to stop the literal flood. Just blame. I wasn't brought back the next year, but that was fine. I'd already moved on to greener pastures. Funny enough, once the dust settled and they realized how much damage I had tried to prevent, they offered me my old job back. I politely declined. Turns out I was the one who drained that swamp after all. The last story is called Time Off. I'm in the military. In our unit, we rack up quite a few extra hours when working weekends. Typically around 60 to 65 hours. Normally, this is spread out since there are usually plenty of people to rotate shifts. But due to mismanagement, parental leaves and a few other issues, our weekend crew had dwindled down to just 7 people. As you might guess, over the next few months, each of us built up a ton of extra hours. Per regulations, you are supposed to take time off for those hours instead of getting paid. But we all knew from experience that taking that much time off just wasn't realistic. So most of the time we'd get extra hours paid out. Enter our new upper level commander. Let's call him Boss Boss. He was very pro-family and really big on work-life balance. So when we asked how he wanted to handle our extra hours, he told our direct supervisor, the regulation says time off should be the priority, so take the time off. 5 of us warned him, on separate occasions no less, that this was going to cause a scheduling disaster. But he doubled down. Time off, not pay. Mid-month we all submitted requests to use up our banked time. Our direct supervisor approved them. After all, we were following Boss's exact instructions. Our work schedule is planned monthly, and we each had between 20 and 50 hours saved up, based on a 41-hour work week. That meant anywhere from about a month to nearly 3 months off. Fast forward to the planning phase for next month's weekend shifts. Our scheduling guy comes around, asking which weekends we are available for. One by one, we all told him the same thing. We are off. He panicked. Hard. Suddenly, Boss and Boss were in a frenzy, because their carefully balanced shift schedule had just collapsed. They had to bring in people from other companies in the battalion to cover our weekend duties. Not exactly popular with the other commanders, who made sure Grand Boss, that's the real top level commander, found out. After that little chat with Grand Boss and some complaints from the other unit heads, we were quietly told we could go back to getting our extra hours paid out instead of taking time off. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.